In my last video, I discussed with one of the factor while finding your investment property or your buy and hold house or your rental properties or your first time home buying. One very important thing is to buy on boundaries if you are buying those houses for a longer duration. When I say buying on a boundary, what I mean is either buying it on a boundary of a two good neighborhoods, or what I mean is buying them on a boundary of one good neighborhood, one bad neighborhood. So directly going to good neighborhood means you're paying premium for your house. You're paying a lot of money because you're already going into premium place. So you are putting a lot of money in while buying a house. And as a smart people says, you always make money when you buy the house. You don't make money when you sell the house, which means you have already paid a lot of money for that premium house, premium neighborhood, which means, okay, so that's not investment. That's like, okay, luxury buying. Now talking about buying a house on the boundary of a good neighborhood and a bad neighborhood. So how a neighborhood becomes a good and a bad. So if you see a good neighborhood, let's suppose it's this much chunk and this is a bad neighborhood. So this good neighborhood will keep on expanding and will kind of submerge into the bad neighborhood. Why this thing happens is it only happens when demand is more and supply is very less. So in that scenario, whatever real estate that is badly left and is not good, or you call in real estate lingo as rough neighborhood, that has to uplift to the level of good neighborhood, which is just nearby to it. So that's happen when demand is more, supply is less. So the bad neighborhood or the rough neighborhood comes to the level of a good neighborhood. And one advantage is when you buy on a boundary of a good and a bad neighborhood, so you buy cheap. And when you buy cheap, because you're closer to a bad neighborhood, and when you buy cheap, you put less money inside the property when you buy, which means you're smart, you're an investor, and you're going to be holding it for a longer duration. So today I'm going to be telling you how I bought 3 rental properties in Ottawa, and I used the same strategy buying either on the boundary of a good and a bad neighborhood or buying on the boundary of two good neighborhoods. So starting with my first property, this first property is in Carlington. When I bought this property in 2019, there was a very rough neighborhood. It's still a little bit rough, I will say. It's not that much improved because we are already 3 or 4 years down the road right now. But very good part is on one side there is Westboro, and on the other side of Carlington, there is Carleton University, there is Canadian Experimental Farm, there is Civic Hospital, the Ottawa Hospital Civic Campus is there. If you go further down side the Carlington, you see Merivale, you're gonna see there's gonna be Baseline, then there's gonna be Algonquin College. So it's a sandwich. Westboro, good uplifting neighborhood. A lot of development has happened in last 20 years over there. People love to buy houses there. You see a lot of offices, a lot of cafes, restaurants over there. And you know about Baseline, such a good neighborhood it is. You know Canadian Experimental Farm, how much value it's add. So a rough neighborhood is sandwiched around a lot of good things. So when the demand gonna be a lot and supply is gonna be very less, which means Carlington has to come to the level of Westboro and Baseline and to the level of Carleton University and Experimental Farm. So that's the smart move. If you go back in 2000 and in early 90s, Westboro was not a good neighborhood. If you talk with some old realtors, I have good network with very old realtors who are in the market right now. They say it was a very rough neighborhood, and right now Westboro has seen a lot of development if you have visited that neighborhood. So the boundary keep on shifting. Earlier the boundary of Westboro was way back. It keep on shifting, came to the highway, then there is Carlington, and then there is Baseline. So boundary will keep on shifting, whether it will shift from Westboro side or whether it will shift from Experimental Farm or Baseline and the Merivale side. So find a property. So what the smart move was, I put less money inside because I didn't went to Kanata at that time. I didn't went to Barrhaven at that time. So I got that property cheaper. Believe me, it's a 4 bedroom, 2 bathroom house, 300K. And right now its value is 550K in these 3-4 years because I bought it on the boundary. Now coming to my next investment property. This next investment property I bought in Castle Heights. And if you see on the northern side, it's surrounded by Vanier. And in the southern side, it has Saint Laurent Mall. It has Overbrook. If you see on the western side of it, you see downtown Embassies, University of Ottawa, Sandyhill area. And if you see on the eastern side of it, you're going to be seeing Cummings, you're going to be seeing Carson Grove. And if you go further down, you're going to see Train Yard. So same scenario, it's squeezed by so many good neighborhoods on all the sides, but one bad neighborhoods on the upper side. And when demand's going to be more, supply is going to be less, the bad one has to improve. And when you buy, you paid very less money because you are definitely closer to a little bit rough area, right? So that is the smartness you have to use. I didn't went directly and buy a house in Barrhaven. I didn't went directly and go and buy my second investment property in Canada because there I'm already putting a lot of money. I guess we bought this property. This is a detached house, 3 bedroom upstairs, 2 bedroom downstairs, total 2 bathrooms, 2 kitchens, separate entrance from the basement for 580K. We bought this property in 2020. So it's a bungalow, big backyard, big side yard, 4 parking spots. So you have to become smart because we bought that property very cheaper at that time, and you know the magic. Yeah, but like, yeah, you have to play that thing as well because you're buying it on a boundary. And if you're buying and hold it for a longer duration, that's the smartness, because anytime it will uplift, because that's what happened. Now, taking the example of third property. So this third property, I actually bought it in very good neighborhood. So I was not able to make up my mind whether to buy in Canada or whether to buy in Barrhaven because they both have their pros and cons. So what smartness I have used over here is, rather than buying in North Canada, I went to South Canada near Bridlewood, because South Canada is very closer to Barrhaven. If you are in North Canada, you have to travel far away through the highway and then you reach Barrhaven. So in order to have taste and flavor of both Barrhaven as well as Kanata, I bought the property in Bridlewood in South Canada. You can see the boundary over there, very close to each other. And very good part was you have Manotick and Stittsville also very closer to those boundaries. So that's a smart move because you have now taste of both the neighborhoods. So these are very important points which you have to consider in mind. It's not just how the kitchen looks. It's not just how the curb looks. It's not just how the paint of the house looks. Real estate definitely includes all those things, but anyone can tell you like, okay, this kitchen looks good, this thing looks good. Important fundamental is neighborhoods. Important fundamental is how the future projection is going to be look alike. So are you having a good realtor? Are you having a good personals in your team who knows what they are doing? Did you get the chance to do discussions like this, like, okay, how neighborhoods gonna get improved, what's gonna be their final goal is, how longer the duration they're gonna hold the property? So these are important things. So if you have any queries in Ottawa regarding buying houses, selling houses, refinancing houses, and if any kind of suggestions regarding where to invest, where not to invest, how to invest, what kind of renovations needs to be done, how to find good contractors, where to find a good team of contractors, reach out to me. If you have any queries, Vardhan Sangar, Krishna Buy Houses, always ready to help. Stay hungry, stay humble. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.